When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube, welcome back to the Grease Comedy YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be talking all about who really should have been king, Daeron II or Daemon Blackfyre. Who would have been a better king, and who would have cemented the Targaryen dynasty better? And by Targaryen, I mean, I don't know, because if Daemon Blackfyre became king, would he have made his name a Targaryen? We don't know. But let's get into the mind of, say, a commoner. You're a common person, you're a farmer during this time, you've heard that Aegon IV has died, and Daeron II has ascended the Iron Throne. But there's some rumor. Is Daeron II even Aegon's son? Is he a bastard? Is he Aemon the Dragon Knight's and Nerys' son? Who is his father? And also there's this character of Daemon Blackfyre, who is seeming like he's a god. He is a great swordsman, the greatest of the generation after the Dragon Knight, and maybe even better. He looks like a Targaryen, while this character Daeron II looks Dornish. And let's say that you're a farmer in the Reach, and you've been raided by the Dornish. How does this make you feel? These are some of the interesting questions that were posed during this time about who should be the king, Daeron or Daemon. Daeron is this character that's more bookish. He's more of a peaceful guy. He's not really a warrior, while Daemon is the quintessential chivalrous knight during this time. And chivalry was a big part of this era. Who do you support? And why should you support them? So right away, let's look at just ideological differences between the two. Daemon Blackfyre was someone that we don't know a lot of his own opinions on things. We don't know who he was as a person necessarily. We are still yet to really have any quotes of Daemon actually talking. It's a lot of times about people talking about him or suggesting what he was like. We don't know what was in Daemon's head. We don't know who he was as a person. We know much more about Daeron than we do Daemon personality and or what their ideas were. So Daeron, I think, is this person that was a really good king, in my opinion. I did a Targaryen ranked video on Thursday, and he was ranked, I believe, number 3 for me. So it's hard to say that Daemon Blackfyre, in my opinion, is a better king. And we have to think about this from the idea that Daemon Blackfyre is someone that was a great soldier. He is a great swordsman. And he even had a lot of legitimacy claims. He had the sword Blackfyre. And when you look at the dragons being gone, well, the sword Blackfyre is now much more important. It shows that, oh, you have the sword of the Conqueror. It gives you a lot of legitimacy at this point. Because back in the day, having Blackfyre didn't necessarily mean or give you any type of legitimacy. It was the dragons that did. If you had Balerion, for instance, if you had Vhagar, if you had a massive dragon, that was very important for you being a Targaryen. And at this point, it did give Daemon Blackfyre a lot of legitimacy. Now, we don't really know Aegon IV's motivations. We don't know if this was just he didn't really care about the sword. Again, he was giving away dragon eggs basically for sex at this point. So, should we put a lot of significance on Aegon giving Daemon the sword? Yes and no. I mean, you can look at the idea that Aegon didn't particularly like his son Daeron. That's very evident. And also, there was a lot of rumors during this time that Aegon was trying to figure out how to disinherit Daeron. But if he would have done that, he would have basically gone in open war with the Dornish, which probably wasn't a good idea at this point, seeing as though Aegon had already tried to attack the Dornish, and it went horribly wrong. So that's kind of the issue that comes to the forefront is, as a person, how did you feel about the Dornish? If you were someone that didn't like them, didn't want to make peace with them, you wanted to keep warring with them because of maybe you lost family members, then maybe they raided you and you lost your food or something, that could mean you would support Daemon Blackfyre. And you being a farmer, say in the Reach, are more prone to support Daemon. We know that Daemon's biggest support was in the Reach. He had some support in the Riverlands and also the Westerlands as well. And notably, the Peaks were some of his closest allies. Of course, the dreaded Peaks. But to me, if you look at Daeron II, who he was as a person, and someone that was always advocating for peace, he took a lot of that from Baelor, the Blessed, well, you come up with a very interesting argument. And who would have been a better king? Well, we know what Daeron II was as a king. He was fantastic. So would a Daemon have lived up to that? And I think if we look at the starting of the war when Daemon is made king, Daemon was not, like, incompetent. He was doing things that were really inherently good. He knew tactically what he was doing in, say, a war. And also, he was, like, making his own money. He did understand certain parts. But at the same time, Daemon didn't seem like he was surrounding himself with the best type of advisors. A lot of the people that were flocking to Daemon's cause, when you're talking about either lords that are very ambitious, trying to basically become the next Lord Paramount, we see a very common trend that the people that supported Daemon were a lot of the secondary houses, not the top houses. A lot of the top houses either stayed out of it or they went for Daeron. You had a lot of people that were there really to gain things and get things from Daemon. And they weren't really the most trustworthy people. We saw a lot of people that were in Aegon IV's small council, or people close to him, go to Daemon's cause because Daeron cleared them out. So there is a lot of interesting ideas and ways you can come at both of these two characters. Personally, I think Daeron is the better king and the person you would want ruling if you were a common person. But when you're looking at it from why would someone support Daemon, it's very clear to see. During this time, being a warrior was something that was very important. Being, say, a strong king. A lot of people would take you being a good warrior to you being a strong king, and that's like an equal correlation. Well, that's not really the case. We see that a lot throughout Targaryen history. Daeron was this person that a lot of people thought was weak. He could have been compared to, say, a person like, say, Aenys, because he wasn't a fighter, he wasn't this big warrior. When we look at the Blackfyre Rebellion, the first one, Daeron is not the person leading the Loyalists. We see people like Baelor, we see people like Maekar, we see Lord Hayford, his Hand of the King, later on in the war, because Daeron's Hand of the King possibly could have been a sympathizer to the Blackfyre cause, or he was just completely incompetent. And we see other characters like that are the ones in charge. We also see that Lord Aaron at this point was also the person kind of leading some of the forces for the Loyalists. So a lot of people would have seen that as weakness, that Daeron is this person that surrounded himself with very bookish people. Another thing to compound on that is, let's think about physically. In this world, you are definitely judged by your physical traits. Tyrion is someone that is constantly made fun of because of his height and his qualities. So think about someone like Bloodraven, who is this character that is disfigured. He has like this red blotch on his thing, or on his face, that looks like blood, and that could possibly be like a raven. And he is someone that is also said to be maybe a person wielding magic. And he is also high in Daeron's councils. So when you look at the people that are surrounding Daeron and the people that are surrounding Daemon, where Daemon has these great knights as well, that's a lot of his closest friends with these great knights, and that's something we hear with the Duncan Eggtails as well, is that Daemon was someone that had the best knights on his side. He had Bittersteel, right? He had some of these great knights around him. And that is something that I think there was just an ideological split here on the more knowledgeable, the bookish people, and more of the warrior types, the chivalrous types. Not to say there wasn't of these types on both sides. Baelor Breakspear was someone that beat Daemon in a tournament when we see Daenerys get married to a Dornishman. That is something that Daemon was not very happy about. He wanted to marry her or have some relation with her, and it was a really big event. So, again, there are people on this side that are great fighters. Maekar was another great fighter. Daeron's fourth son, who would end up being king, was a fantastic fighter. He is one of the reasons that the Loyalists win at the Red Grass Field. He was able to hold the front against the brunt of Lord Peake's vanguard and the center. So, again, I think when you're looking at this from a common person, it really would depend on what area you lived in, on whether you would support Daemon or not. If you were in the Reach, you were much more likely to support him. If you were somewhere like, or if you were in the, say, the Vale, you would be much more likely to support someone like Daeron. Again, because your lord has been married into that family, right? Like, the Arryn line is in the Targaryen family. You also have not really been plagued by the Dornish like the rest of the southern kingdoms have been. So you're much more prone to be more sympathetic to, say, Daeron's cause than Daemon's. The North, if you were in the North, you just wouldn't even care about this event. You have your own shit going on. So again, I think geography is something that George really uses really well to understand why certain people would support this person or not. When you look at the Reach having constant issues with the Dornish, it would make sense for majority of the Reach to support Daemon. Now we know the Tyrells never openly do, but could the Tyrells have been funding Daemon? Could they have been helping hide him? Very possible. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Let me know, who would you guys have supported in the Blackfyre Rebellion? Daemon or Daeron, and why? Let me know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.